May 15th, 2023. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. This is what the chart looked like today, and this is how I had it marked up. Pretty much prices just stayed within this gigantic trading range. Unfortunately, it didn't move up from the top to the bottom too many times for me to see a good opportunity at the tops and bottoms, but there were these overlapping trading ranges as well as several trend channels that I could identify. I took a total of 2 trades, one won and then one lost. You can go down to the descriptions below and you can see where I took my trades as well as where I thought I saw setups. Now, kind of early on, the prices were moving a little bit more than later. And then kind of toward the last hour, things picked up a bit, but I wasn't able to identify that many setups. And there were a few setups I saw, but unfortunately, I didn't take them for one reason or another. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. You can see in the pre-market, things just kind of rocketed up. There was one piece of economic data that came out, but it wasn't, let's see. The piece of economic data came out around 5:30 Pacific Standard. It was the Empire State Manufacturing Index, so it's right about here. Didn't look like it really affected the market too much, but in the pre-market, it shot up, consolidated, then sold off. Then there's two swings, two measured move legs, and then there were some smaller ones. And right around later, I thought there might have been a second one, but it turned out it didn't happen. So I'm going to go through my trades now. I draw the highs and the lows in the pre-market. And so in the pre-market, let's see here, there's a consolidation. I don't trade the pre-market. Prices sold off and into the open, the sell-off continues. So I don't see a good chance to enter. Makes a new low here. You only have a first entry short. Then it makes a new low here. I saw a first entry short, a second entry short, and then a failed second entry short there. So then what happens is it also makes a new high here by one tick, makes a first entry long, then a second entry long, and there's a failed second entry long here. It's also a triple test right here. The signal bar isn't the best, and this is the first touch of the EMA, so I didn't take that trade. I just kind of left it alone. I was playing with the idea that there's potentially a trading range right here. So this signal bar, if it had been a little bit better, I might have taken it because there's just enough room to scalp out for a quick one, maybe 1 point profit, but it didn't set up quite the way I liked it, and so I left it alone. Prices continue moving down. I did see this trading channel here, and this is the first break. Made one push up. This is like could take technically a second push up, or you can see one big leg here, pull back, and maybe a second leg. But that's more of a visual thing. But even then, I wasn't quite sure it was a setup. So then from here, prices continue selling off. You can consider this, if you group this as a new high and a bigger time frame, just one big one, then you only get like a first entry long and then a potential second entry long. But then it makes another new low here. So then I also see a new low here, moves up. I see a first entry short, then a second entry short. Now this candle, at the time when I saw this in real time, I wasn't sure if it was worth taking, but in hindsight, I think it was worth taking. And here is where I saw the setup, but I didn't take it because I think I hesitated. I wasn't quite sure. It touched once here, it touched twice here, and touched a third time. So it tried to push through the EMA, which is this blue line, 3 times, and it failed. On top of that, I did draw this shortened trend channel coming down. It verified the third time. And then I placed the bottom of it, kind of trying to contact this as best I could. So it's actually a little bit higher originally, right there. It was a small breakout here. But what kind of made me pause was this actually closed as a bullish candle because the close is higher than, the open. So if it was actually a red candle, I think I might have jumped on it. So this is a possible trade. The EMA is encouraging and there's enough room to the lows. So unfortunately, I didn't take that trade. And I thought, well, maybe I'll look for a higher low confirmation. You don't quite get a higher low confirmation. This just kind of runs away without you. You do get a higher low right about here, but now it feels like the trade is too far away to try to even go short. It looks like my bouncing back up. I also modified my trend channel to be looking about there. Then prices continue. It starts to slow grind down. So this would have been a pretty decent trade. And if you just kind of carried your runner maybe one tick above the previous, you might have gotten stopped out on this candle, but if you gave it 2 ticks or you kept it 1 tick above the previous, then you could still be writing this. And then even here, you potentially still be safe. Confirmation a fourth time, I guess, of the EMA holding. And then here for sure, I think if you had a runner, it would have been stopped out. Prices continue moving up. I draw this shortened trend channel going up. It keeps going up. I see a potential measured move one leg because there's a consolidation here because it either touched 2 times here or 2 times here. In any case, I thought this might just be one clean leg up, even though it's all part of this bigger leg right now. And I thought, okay, maybe there's a second measured move coming up. I see a second entry long here, but I don't like this setup because even though there's a new high, it makes a double top. But if you counted this and you just want to count, technically it's one first entry long and potentially a second entry long here. It bounced off the bottom of this shortened trend channel, but it's pretty far from the EMA. And the signal bar, although it's good, it just doesn't feel like it's the best setup because it looks like it's only has maybe 1 tick before it hits the top of this double top right here. So it could just hit here and reject down. And you could argue that if you trusted this this channel enough, you could say it's probably coming back up here. It could, but I just wasn't 100% sure. If only the EMA had been higher and it bounced off and there was a little more room to move, I think I would have taken that trade. Turns out the trade would have worked out fine. Of course, you don't know that. It does make that measured move. First leg up, kind of consolidates sideways, then it makes a second leg up. So here, I'm thinking the uptrend might have played out. It's also getting close to the midline of this larger trading range made from the pre-market highs and lows. Now the pre-market high is a little bit, actually got moved a bit. I'm going to adjust it real quick, but it doesn't change the fact of where I thought I saw the trade. It's kind of closer to here. It's getting close to the midline. And since it made 2 legs up, I'm thinking maybe it's going to come back down, either test here or potentially there's one big leg and there might be a second big leg. So actually this measured move is actually a little bit lower. I adjusted it later. Prices continue moving down. There's a first entry long, and I'm seeing potentially a second entry long. Unfortunately, even though this candle closed bullish, it is a bearish candle because the close was lower than the open. And excuse me, it's a second entry long, and the signal bar, it was a little bit iffy. So I thought I wanted to wait for a higher low. So, this would have worked if I was on that trade, but I didn't know it because it's also below the EMA. I wasn't too keen on that. I get my higher low. So this is a possible trade. It's a strong reversal bar because it's going first entry long, second entry long, and it looks like it's about to fail the second entry long. Then it flashes up. So this is the bar I would have taken, but to be honest, I didn't take this because I did see this unfold and I was second guessing myself. So this candle engulfed the entirety of this candle. So this is a very strong signal. Now, if I was, I think, more experienced, I would have placed my trade either after this closed 1 tick above this guy, which would have been pretty much the top of this guy, and see if there's enough room to kind of scalp out because it's a very strong rejection of the selling by the bulls. And so I thought, okay, there is these side by sides. This candle form, then this one engulfs this one, then this guy engulfs both of these. So I think there's a strong move up. So here I would have gotten filled. I would have chopped around. My stop would have been down here below this candle. And I'm fairly certain I would have gotten my scalp right out in one of these candles. The prices continue moving up. Chop sideways. This is where I take my actual first trade. Now, I saw a new high here, first entry long. I see a second entry long. I see it bounce off the EMA, but I also know that the EMA is flattening. But I thought, okay, there's a potential resistance up here. Now, this is where I drew the bottom of the trading range, but it was actually a little bit higher originally. And I thought this potentially could be coupled with a failed breakout. So it was a little bit more of a risky trade. It's at 41.40.75. I took it at 41.41, and I thought there was enough room to quickly scalp out for just one quick point. So I was a little nervous about the top of here. So I actually get in right here. I got a little bit better fill right at the top of this guy, and I actually got out. And then as you'll see, I would have gotten stopped out almost. Actually, didn't get stopped out here yet. Now this one definitely would have stopped me out. So I only went for one quick point. I was able to get in and get out because I was afraid of the top here. And I actually drew this down a little bit lower after the fact. Prices continue down, then it chops around, so it breaks out as a failed breakout here, comes up. Looks like it almost wanted to break out through the top. And I just want to note that it was getting to the top here. I had this, I extended this guy because originally he was closer to here. And I actually took him to the top there. So I'm expecting another leg up because this other leg looks like it would touch potentially the top of this larger trading range. You're going to see that in a bit. Prices made one new high, first entry long, and then I'm seeing a potential second entry long. But I also noticed that this is a new low, first entry short, second entry short. So if I'm thinking there's going to be another move up, I'm thinking this second entry short is going to fail. And this second entry long, which hasn't formed yet, is going to break above this tick, break one tick above this guy and continue up. So it doesn't, it continues down. So I'm thinking, okay, so for sure I have a new high, first entry long. I still don't have my second entry long form, but I do have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. So this second entry short hasn't failed yet either. Now the second entry short has definitely failed, and the second entry long is confirmed. So I thought there's a potential trade right here because this is a decent signal bar. It's also a failed breakout of this trading range. It could be moving back in and touching the top of this. And so it is kind of potentially might bounce and hit this midline, but I didn't think it was that important because the EMA isn't being respected. Prices spent most of the time above the EMA than below. So if I was going to take this trade after this close, I think I would have put it one tick above here. So I wouldn't have gotten filled. I still wouldn't have gotten filled. Here I would have gotten filled. And then most likely here, I would have gotten my scalp out. And if I was still sitting in this, I wouldn't have gotten stopped out because my stop would have been down here. But likely this candle would have gotten me out because I'm pretty sure I would not have placed my exit higher than this because I would be unsure if it's going to press up and make a new high. Now, I didn't take this in real time, unfortunately. Again, I'm just a little skittish. I just, due to inexperience, I wasn't 100% sure I'm reading the charts correctly. So I let it pass. And in hindsight, this is an okay setup, but I think if it was more obvious, I probably would have taken it, but it wasn't obvious enough for me. The price continue moving up. It goes into this trading channel, trend channel. It overshoots. It makes a first entry long. And potentially getting ready for a second entry long. If it bounces off the EMA, it doesn't. It breaks through the EMA, so there's no trade here. Prices continue moving down. I draw a second trend channel. Now up here, I did see this and I was thinking, I had a hunch, but I didn't take the trade. I saw this first leg up, one big leg up, consolidation, a second leg up. When it got close to the top here, I was thinking, now there is no real clear setup. Like seeing a first entry short, there is a lower high here. So if you saw this one big leg, first entry short, second entry short, that's requiring a little bit of interpretation on my part because in here there are a bunch of little second entries, third entries, or if you reset the count, be second entries. But there is a clear lower high. It also made a measured move. So based off the strength of that, I was thinking if there was a short on this red candle. The unfortunate thing is there's no clear setup. So I had a hunch, but I didn't want to play the hunch. And even though it bounced off the top of this trading range, it really only touched once because even if I had the trading range a little bit lower conservatively, let's say it's right there, so I could include this guy here, it only touched maybe a third time, but it's not clear enough confirmation. If it had bounced or had been a tighter trading range and just bounced up and down more frequently, then I would have been more confident. But here is more of a, I think, an experience thing. If I had known that this was going to actually go down or seen this enough, maybe this candle would have been enough. Plus the combination of it being an overshoot, coming back in, expecting another overshoot the other side or a reversal, and plus this lower high. So all that kind of added up made me wonder if I missed a trade here, but at least I know I was looking at something and was wondering about it in real time. So anyways, prices continue moving down, bounces up, it goes into this really tight shortened trend channel, makes a first break, makes a new high, and I see a potential second entry short here because even though there's a new low here, I grouped this as a new low together. So I said, starting from here, first entry short, potential second entry short here. But this isn't a very good signal bar. Then prices break through. it would have worked, comes back down. So this is what I saw here. I saw a new high, first entry long. I saw a second entry long right here. Then I also saw a second entry long fail right here because it went one tick below. I also saw this as potentially a lower high of this visual one push up, one leg down, one leg up, first entry short, second leg up, second entry short. I saw this as a potential lower high. So I actually entered this trade right here, one tick below, because my thinking was it made two legs up, touched the top, and made one leg down. It had a correction, and this is this yellow. I'm thinking it's going to have another measured move, comes back all the way back down to at least maybe test here, or if not, at least touch the midline. So this is what I was thinking in real time. So I thought this might have been a decent entry. When this candle closed, I put my order one tick below. Boom, right there. I actually got, I think it was one tick below this guy. I got filled right here. Then what happens is I actually didn't read the chart correctly. It bounces. I kept my stop one tick below here. This candle still hasn't stopped me out yet. Goes up. Excuse me, not stop me out. This candle, my profit target was actually one tick below this candle. So unfortunately, it comes down. It just barely touches my order, comes back up, and it stops me out because my stop's right here. I went short here. So I was thinking price is going to continue moving down. And then I get stopped out, continues up. Definitely would have stopped me out here if I had it even up above this swing. This green candle would have stopped me out. Then prices continue moving down. And I chopped sideways. So this is my second trade as a red, and then moved up. I see the shortened trend channel. It's more of a shallow channel, so I'm not really sure about it yet. I did see two legs up, and then there's no real clean entries because there's new high, first entry long, second entry long, but this is a terrible signal bar. If you treated this as a signal bar, I suppose you could, but then it's not really going off of anything. There's no real key entry point to take it off of. Chop sideways. It's kind of going into the close now. And then the market closed. So this one was, I felt a little tricky. I think I got, for sure I got faked out. And so when it made one leg down, I thought it was going to make a second measured move all the way down to here. I was wrong. I also saw it as this globalized new low, first entry short, second entry short, and then this is a lower high here. So I thought, okay, well, it also closed below the EMA. EMA is flattening out though, but I thought there was enough juice to at least get to the midline or even lower. So that's why I took this short. This candle almost got me out. Unfortunately, it didn't tick below. It started to struggle. Then it finally hit my stop loss up here. And that was a little unfortunate. So that's how I saw the trades today. There weren't, well, I didn't see that many setups. There were some setups I missed, unfortunately. And I think those would have been pretty good. But I think it's just due to experience. Maybe I'll catch him next time. So hopefully that was helpful.